Hi there, today we will take a look once again at my awesome Optiplex. I presented you this computer as a retro Windows XP gaming PC, but it turned out that I'm not a gamer. Well, as if I didn't know that before. Anyway, I just don't have time mostly, and well, I'm not too much of a gamer. Anyway, so I decided I would create something that I always wanted, and that would be more useful in this case. A network attached storage, a NAS server. A server, I had servers, or well, servers in the past. They were mostly like old Macs just running sharing, and I called that a server because, you know, it sounded badass. But anyway, this is now, after all these years, a real server, for me at least. And yeah, I came up with this idea because I'm running out of storage on my main PC. Well, I'm not particularly running out of storage, but I just have so many important files that I'm just storing on my main PC that I'm not accessing all that much, but they're all on this one hard drive, and if this goes bad, then, you know, we are in trouble. So I decided I'd create this ghetto server. Now, this ghetto, why is it ghetto? I will show you. Why is it ghetto? First of all, it's an old Optiplex from 2008, 2007. It only has 2 GB of RAM, and yeah, that is a little low for a file server, but it turns out it's actually working out for me. We got here 3 1 TB hard disks, so as you see, it's not a huge capacity server. I spent 0 on this. This is built from everything I had laying around. Yes, I had 3 1 TB drives just laying around. 2 of them are 5400 RPM. These are these 2, and this one is 7200 RPM. It's out of my iMac. So this one is quite old and has tons and tons and tons of hours on it. But that's not so bad, and I will tell you why in a second. It has the Pentium. I'll show you the specs all later. And it only has this one fan. I really want to maybe put another fan right here. But since I'm sometimes even turning it off, so it's not constantly on like 24/7 when I'm away for a couple of days and I'm not accessing it at all, then I'm turning it off since it's just wasting power. I took out the GPU since this is not helping the server in any way. I left the Wi-Fi in there, and yeah, basically I just swapped the 3 1 TB drives in it, and that's it. So yeah, this is the server. It's booting off of the USB you see there. That is a just 4 gig USB stick, and it has a embedded operating system, so everything is stored on a USB, and that is pretty handy since I can just, if I would swap out this server for another hardware or something, I can just boot it up and it will be all there. And also I am saving myself one hard drive that I would need to install. So here is the operating system. It runs Sigma NAS. I don't know how to say that. Previously it was called NAS for free, and in fact about 5 years ago, when I was in school, we used to create a NAS with this very operating system. Also David was involved in this project. We were only 3 guys, and we built like 2 servers. And they were working out so good that I thought I'd use this operating system again on my personal server here. It's been quite some years ago, and it turns out they have developed a new file system, a new ZFS file system, which is used for servers, and that is supposed to be so much better. And I first wanted to do a RAID 5 configuration. If you don't know what RAID 5 is, it is a pretty safe system. You have 3 drives, they have to be the same capacity, and if one fails, then you can just swap in another drive and everything will be fine. And I found that pretty good. But I have here not RAID 5 since this OS deprecated the support for RAID 5 and other RAID 2, and now I'm running a ZFS storage pool in RAID Z1. I think that is what's called. I'll show you the web interface since here it's nothing more to show you. So here we get the web interface, sigmanas.local. I just left the stock name for the server. I thought that was, you know, that was fine for my needs. I am in fact the only one using it. Maybe, just maybe, it's used by maybe one person, else than me, but mostly it's just my personal server. So I just decided I'd leave all this stock. As you can see, there are the specifications. We got a Pentium dual core, which is really not stressed with this task. It's perfectly fine. However, as you can see, the RAM is a little on the low side. Right now it's using 78% of RAM, and also the embedded, so it's running the OS also in the RAM, you know, because it's embedded on the flash drive. It's loading everything into RAM, so the OS needs about around 200 megabytes already, maybe even more, I don't know. And so the RAM is maybe a little bottlenecking the system. I could maybe get better performance if I had more RAM. And you know what shocked me was that the minimum requirements, they wrote, you should at least use 8 gigabytes. And I'm like, holy shit, 8 gigabytes. You know, that's so freaking much, you know. And I decided, holy shit, that's gonna be so slow with 2 gigs, but I just have no choice. I don't have any other RAM sticks laying around, and what should I do? And oh shit, I need to build a completely new system, and oh my god. But it turns out, you know, when I'm having one host connected to it, it copies around 100 megabytes a second. So I'm totally happy. When I have 2 hosts, I can see it going to 100% here, and also the CPU is doing a little more. But it's still not bad. Like, it's still at 50 megabytes a second. So sure, it's not a high, you know, speed server with all crazy transfer speeds, but it's fine for me. I'm happy for right now. It's working out great. It really is. Okay, here we get the HDD configuration. Nothing crazy, of course. We got the 1 terabyte drives right there, and here's the flash drive connected to the USB. So yeah, this is everything it has. It's not a crazy server, obviously. Okay, and here are the informations about my setup. It's running in RAID Z1, and if one drive fails, then I can just swap in another one, and it basically restores everything, and it's fine. So it's basically acting as RAID 5. At least I read that online, and that's, if it works like RAID 5, I'm totally happy. This is what I wanted. And yeah, it's having all sorts of cool stuff. SSH is also activated, so I can log in via console, which is also handy. I have activated, of course, FTP, SMB, and AFP, so I can connect to it with every operating system. And I'm in fact here having restored my MacBook Pro Time Machine backup to it, and it's working beautifully. You can do the sharing and set it as like supported as Time Machine. So this is what I did, and the Time Machine backup is now on my server, and that is just awesome. I used to be very ghetto and do it on an external drive and then copy this goddamn Time Machine to my main PC for storage, and that was so exhausting. And the result of that was that I didn't back up machines as often as I should have. Now thankfully it never failed or had a problem, but right now I can plug it into my switch right here that is hooked up to my server, and I can just begin restoring a Time Machine, backing up a Time Machine backup. Not restoring. I could restore also, yeah. As you can see, it's currently doing the backup already again. And I need to do the same with my iMac. I'm just having this problem now that this very long Ethernet cable is routed all the way back here, and I only have one very long Ethernet cable, and I used to use it on my iMac. Now I'm using it on my server, and I maybe need to get another one of these very long cables for the iMac. I also want to have this with LAN. So here we have it logged into the NAS. We got now only 2 main folders, and here is most of the data. I still need to copy a lot of data to it, and it probably will fill up a good chunk of these 3 terabytes. I will not back up everything on this. I would not have the space, but the very important things like very old pictures and videos and memories, you know, of my life, and also important files and stuff, I will all back it up on the server. So will I have this server forever in this configuration? I do not know, guys. This is also a little test run, like a beta testing for if I can really use this with these 2 gigabytes of RAM. I'm not sure if I should really invest in another like 2 gigabyte DDR2, or just build a whole dedicated server with a case that works better, since this is maybe not the best idea for the cooling of the drive, since this is what you want. The drives need to stay cool. On the server we built in school back then, one drive overheated and it died. So this needs to be cool. It's like, this is where your data is on. It's most important, the most important thing. I also don't know if you can just take these drives and take the USB stick and put it all into a different system and it will boot up no problem. I do not know. I think it could work if you would plug it in the correct SATA ports on the board. So I still need to mark that I'm not confusing that maybe. But yeah, this is I will keep it as is for now. It's working fast. It's all wired, no wireless. You can of course connect it via wireless also, and it works great as well. We get a new router which is very fast and capable, but mostly the data transfer will be via, of course, LAN. It's just way quicker and more reliable and everything. So yeah, this is my server. I hope you like it. I surely like it. It's always been kind of a dream for me to have my own server where I can do what the hell I want and not spend so much on these NAS systems, on these pre-built NAS boxes with the fancy interfaces that you don't really need. It's just easy as that. You don't even have to know all that much, in fact. I mean, I knew a little bit about this stuff. If you're completely new and never knew anything about this, you're not gonna get like off on the first step. Or do you say? I don't know. You will just not get it done first try. I can guarantee you that. We suffered a lot, but if you know a little bit about this, it's really no problem. And if you want maybe a more modern or, well, more consumer-oriented version, you can maybe use free NAS. But I will continue probably using the Sigma NAS. I'm familiar with it and it's working. And this is not anything special. It doesn't need to do that many chores, so it is fine. And with the side panel on, it's even relatively quiet, so that's also important. But yeah, I will leave it as is and maybe give you an update if I swap it out for a different system or not. But this Optiplex is working great, and so thank you for watching, and see you later.